What up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It is your boy Mac the Giants fan here with my guy, the super dope co-host Adam Costas. This is the real deal NFC East Round-Up. Punch that intro. What is going on? Good afternoon, man. How y'all doing out there, everybody? How you feeling today, Adam?
Oh, I'm all right. My team is in the shitter. We're starting to talk draft right now, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, no, it's never a good thing when you're talking draft after week five. When you're already deep into draft talks already. But that's where we are right now as New York Giant fans. We are already looking ahead to April. Terrible, 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 terrible place to be.
Now we'll
Week
get to that in
five.
a minute.
Yes, indeed. Chat, what's going on? Philly B, man, that's my guy. Thanks for stopping
Hey,
by,
coach,
man.
man, how are you?
Appreciate you, man. Coach Ed, man, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Most definitely NFL reality check. AK, man, thanks for stopping in, bro, man. Really appreciate you, man. This was a tough week five for the NFCs, unless you were Philadelphia, unless you were on the Philadelphia Eagles, man. The only NFC's team to get a W this weekend, and to be quite frank, the other three got that ass embarrassed. All three of them, man. And like this was unbelievable weekend for the NFC East, man. The Giants, that's normal. I mean, we've grown accustomed to the New York Giants getting embarrassed, unfortunately this season. So that was nothing normal. I mean, that was nothing new. That was the usual. And but the Washington Commanders, man, and the Dallas Cowboys got the doors blown off of them, man. And obviously we're getting on both of those teams in a few, but Dallas, okay, there's no shame in losing to San Fran, but we just expected to see a much more competitive ball game than what we got on Sunday Night Football last week. And then the Washington Commanders, man, we can bring them up right now. Took a hard L to a winless Chicago Bears team, man, on Thursday Night Football to get Week 5 started off. Man, what was your thoughts on this game, Adam?
Well, it's a tale of two halves, really. The first half, the Chicago Bears blew the doors off the Commanders. Commanders had no answer. They couldn't do anything offensively. Defensively, they couldn't stop one of the most inept offenses in the game. And these are some big time players. You got Jonathan Payne, Chase, Montez Sweat, who were getting pressure on the quarterback, but then DJ Moore was going off. You wonder what happened, but DJ Moore had 230 yards in the game. You cannot let one man have 230 yards in the game. Now, this is what an alpha receiver does. That's what he does. He brings that type of ability to a game where he can basically break it open. I mean, Cole Kmet, he came through. The line came through. I mean, this much maligned offensive line of Chicago Bears held that front seven pretty much in check. And they ran the football on them. They threw the ball on them. It was a really rough outing for the Commanders' defense. And then in the second half, they made some stops. Looks like they played a little bit more inspired, but by then it was a little too late. Even though Sam Howell did bring them within a score at one point of the game, the defense just could not. After giving up all that yardage at the beginning of the game, they just ran out of gas. And it's too late to make your comeback like that when you run out of gas. And if the Commanders can try to take that same second half effort on defense and put it out in the first half, maybe they'll win. Maybe they'll win some more games and won't be in trouble like they were.
Yeah, Washington really dug themselves in a deep hole early in this game, man. It really had to make them switch gears to what they normally do. I think ideally you don't want to see Sam Howell having to drop back 51 times in a ball game for the Washington Commanders. They'd like to rely a little bit more on that run game, which they had to abandon pretty early because the game was getting away from the very impressive first half of Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears offense. was having. I don't know if the Commanders kind of fell victim in this game to just thinking they could afford to take an opponent lightly. I mean, the Bears were winless coming in here, but at the end of the day, they kind of learned, man. You can't take anything for granted here in this league, man. Third short week, Bears came in, took care of business, and this was just unexpected. Maybe one of the more unexpected turnouts of the weekend. It's not so much that you're like completely stunned that the Bears beat the Commanders, but the way they handled their business, they went in there and beat them down. Down there in Washington, and this was a beat down. I mean, it scored. I mean, 40-20, and they did fight back a little bit in the second half, like you just said, Adam. But it was at that point, it was just too little, too late, man. Chicago Bears had already asserted their will on this game. Justin Fields back-to-back sensational weeks, and maybe the light bulb is finally coming all the way on. Like you said, the addition of DJ Moore, he's finally realizing that he has, like you said, that alpha receiver, man, the guy he can rely on to make some plays in this offense with them. Cole Kmet is starting to look better and better each and every week. I mean, I've noticed it's been a few years for Cole Kmet. Been waiting for him to really, kind of start taking that next step. He's looking like he's becoming taking that next step to becoming one of the higher upper echelon tight ends in this league. Man, we'll see how if that trend continues, but. Yeah, the Washington Commanders here, man. It was just a tough night out at the office for them, man. It was very. It just couldn't. They couldn't get out of their own way in the first half of this football game. DJ Moore was lighting this defense up, man. It seemed like everything Justin Fields was throwing up, it was just money in the bank, man. It was just going home, man. I mean, Justin Fields has been putting on an aerial display these last couple of weeks, so it's good to see that young man. Looking like the quarterback people thought that he was going to be able to be, man. So Chicago Bears get some things in check and can watch out for them.
8 touchdowns in 8 quarters
Shortly, man.
for
Yeah, really impressive stuff.
what's his name again?
Justin Fields.
Fields, yeah.
Justin Fields, yeah, really impressive these last couple of weeks he's been. So, like I said, Sam Howell, the one thing I can say positive was, like you said, in the second half, this team did not just put their tail between their legs and bow down, man. They did try to fight back. And they gave it everything they had, man. It just was like you said, it just wasn't enough. At that point, it was just a little too late. Chicago had already kind of stepped their foot on their throat, man. It was just a little too much to overcome. But Sam Howell in this game, 37-51 for 388 yards and a couple of touchdowns, man. Still overall not a bad day, all things considering how bad things went in this game for him, man. So it's kind of good if you're a Washington fan to see that fight in your quarterback and see that little bit of moxie he has, that will to still try to battle back, even though it was pretty much a lost cause on Thursday night. But it's good to see that fight.
388 yards.
It's good to see that fight in the young quarterback, man.
388 yards for Sam Howell. That's what I'm talking about. I know it was in a loss, but these are the type of things you're seeing. He doesn't get rattled with the hits. That guy was under siege all night. Remember, the Commanders are the highest team in sacks given up in the NFL, 29, right? So they are right there. That kid, yes, he does get himself into sacks, and that throw, that interception, that kind of was a momentum killer for them in the first half. That is a big one, but that's something that you're going to learn, right? Remember, he's only played his sixth game. So we got to let this guy have his growing pains. I can see towards the end of the year he's going to have more games, and at the end of this season they're going to say, "Man, we might have something here with Sam Howell." So whenever that new regime comes in, not saying they won't draft a quarterback, but I'm just saying they'll at least comfortable going through with at least what Sam Howell's giving them right now, and that's a gamer right now. He looks like the better version of Baker Mayfield when Baker came out. And he was throwing it all over the yard and going, "I live dangerously," and having fun with the league. That's what Sam Howell kind of reminds me of. He kind of has a similar mindset. Let's hope he's not as well. I mean, Baker's playing well now, so I can't really say that. But let's hope he's not as he gets the chance that Baker didn't. Remember, Baker had some injuries in Cleveland, and they kind of wrote him out of town, and he struggled. But now he's found his way again with Tampa Bay. So. That's the new norm of quarterbacks. We got these small guys, but he was tough, made every throw, and the second half is what you want to see. If he can put those together against these lesser teams, against Atlanta and against the Giants coming up these next two games, they might be in the games to win the games. Now, the defense just got to ratchet it up. Chase Young was in the backfield. He was getting disruption, but Jamon Davis, man. This guy, 1 minute he looks like the steal of the draft. The next minute he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing on the field.
I can agree. What's going on, Big Simple man? Stopping in, bro. Appreciate you, man. Washington Commanders right there, man. That's, Big Simple, man. Make sure y'all go check my guy
Battle
out,
of
man.
battle of the two quarterbacks that we're going to see on Sunday when they go to Atlanta, when they go play the Atlanta Falcons. You'll be able to see Desmond Ritter is coming off a good game,
What's,
and Sam Howell is coming off a good game.
Matter of fact, we can switch gears and go look into that right now, man. How about we do that?
Okay.
Washington Commanders at Atlanta Falcons on Sunday at 1 o'clock, man. You expect from this matchup? What's going on? No Mets, no Nets, no
What?
Jets.
Well,
Thanks for stopping in, bro.
I'd like to see both young quarterbacks keep developing. Make it a shootout. Atlanta's 3-2, and the Commanders are 2-3. They should probably be 4-2 or 4-1, but they blew it against the Eagles and they blew it this last week. But Atlanta to me is a sneaky team. They beat a decent Texan team. Remember that Texan team is not bad. They beat them. They came back, and Ritter had a good game. 329 yards, 28 of 37 for one TD. You can't ask for much more. CJ Stroud also had a good game. They had 46 yards rushing from BJ Raji. What that means is they put the onus on Ritter to kind of win in this game. Kyle Pitts finally getting involved. So there's some things that Commanders are going to need to look at. Mostly their defense. If their defense comes to play the Commanders, they'll be able to stop Desmond Ritter, who can turn the ball over. But if they don't, and they let teams run on them like Chicago did, and let Drake London and Desmond Ritter get going, it's going to be a long night. They got to ratchet that up. I know Emmanuel Forbes got the blame last week for not being able to cover Terry McLaurin, and the week before that, AJ Brown. Listen, you're covering arguably two of the best receivers back to back, DJ Moore and AJ Brown. That's a tall order for anybody to ask. So going to be growing pains. We'll see if he can bounce back. But man, Commanders, this is it, man. This is a game that could save your season. If you win this game, you're 3-3, and then you're heading into New York with some momentum.
Yeah, I agree. This is a big game for the Washington Commanders, just to try to bounce back, see what they can bounce back coming off of two straight losses on the road against a team in Atlanta that's been, they had their ups and downs so far, but two of the NFL's young quarterbacks, man, second year guys, watch mature right before our eyes, man. But you said something that I think they got to capitalize on the mistakes that Desmond Ritter has shown that he'll make from time to time, man. Those turnovers, he'll throw those interceptions, those errant passes, man, and they got to just figure out a way, dig deep, stop that Atlanta running game. They coming at you with Bijan Robinson as well as Tyler Algier, who they actually split the carries a lot more than I expected. I thought this was going to be the Bijan Robinson showdown there completely in Atlanta, but Tyler Algier is still very much a part of this running game as well, and they throw both of those guys at you. So Washington's going to have to figure out a way to slow that running game down a little bit and keep that under control, keep that in check. Like you said, try to force the errors from the young from Desmond Ritter and see what happens. But I think this is definitely a huge game for him, big kind of a test game for him. And these are two teams that kind of feel like are on the same type of same tier right now as things go in the early part of this season. Even though Atlanta's sporting a better record right now, 3-2. But I think most people will have these teams kind of on basically much the same tier right now through 5 weeks. And this will probably be a little fun one, man. Just see what Washington can do here. They said that they need this to be able to stay competitive within the division. Right now, they can't afford to take this L. So I think this definitely, like you said, a big one to. I mean, yeah, pretty much save their season and keep things going, man.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, these young quarterbacks from the draft, you know, even if these teams don't win, it's a chance to evaluate your talent, right? Some evaluate these guys, get more of these games under their belt to find out if these guys can take those next steps that you're looking for. You never know if a guy is going to do it unless they get playing time. And both these guys, well, Ritter's not, lighting up the league like Sam Howell is in terms of passing. I mean, they both have. I mean, Desmond Ritter has, he doesn't have the same amount of passing stats. He has 1,000 yards, 1,073. But if you look at Sam Howell, Sam Howell already has like over 1,300 yards passing. Um, that's crazy to think. So if these guys can both eliminate the turnovers that have plagued them, um, and they can get the ball downfield and be decisive and make some solid decisions, you're going to see a good game. I mean, Sam Howell in 2 games has thrown for 72% and 70% completion percentage. That's pretty good percentage, and to get that volume of yardage, it's not like he's checking down. He has 290 yards and 388 yards. That means he's going downfield. So I'm excited to. I don't know if I'll be able to watch this game because, well, I don't know if it'll be in the area, but if I get a chance to watch, that's what I'll be watching. How Desmond Ritter develops and how Sam Howell develops, and if the Washington Commanders want us to take him really legit, you know, hey, listen, Big Simple, give the kid a chance. It's only a 6 game. Throwing for 388 yards in the NFL is not easy. I don't care what people say. It's not easy task. Why do you think not every quarterback's doing that every week, right? So 72% completion, that's not bad either. The first half of the game, they did struggle, but give credit to where credit is due with that team they played last week and in Chicago being ready for it. So we'll see. I know you have big expectations for Sam Howell, but again, he's only in year 2, not even a full season under his belt of playing. So let him make these mistakes, let him grow. And then at the end of the year, at the end of 17, then you can say, hey, listen, he's not the guy, or do whatever you want at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, so far, I mean, I wouldn't be upset with Sam Howell's play right now from a Washington Commanders fan. I'd be pretty excited for what can come. I mean, this is still, like you said, the early part of his process, and you would like to think he'd only get better from here. So, and it's been pretty steady. I mean, he's got some things young quarterbacks do, some little errors, mistakes to clean up, but those are things that can be fixed. So I think I agree with Adam here, man. Let's give the kid a little more time to develop and see what you got, man. Because right now you haven't had a lot of good quarterback success in Washington in recent history, man. So it'll be good to know if you do actually finally have your guy right there, and you can just continue to build around him. But Adam, man, how do you see this one playing out this week, man? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. That's the way it's
How
on.
do you how do you see this one playing out?
Oh man, it's tough. It's tough. I picked the Commanders last time. I'm gonna pick them again this time just because I think if Ron Rivera doesn't get to these guys, because I heard that he doesn't really talk to his team at halftime. He kind of lets them hype each other up. He's got to be a coach here. He's got to bring the team together and say, listen, you want to start to get to the playoffs and fight for that wild card spot, you're going to need to, you know, win this game. And 3 in a row is a lot to lose in this game. I think they get off the mat here and actually put it together and play a good defensive game. I think you're going to see the Commanders team that played the Eagles, not the Commanders team that played um, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I think you get. I think Commanders win a close one here, man. Down there in Atlanta, in a raucous environment. I think Sam Howell gets a somewhat of a signature win here. I mean, I know it's the Atlanta Falcons, but at the end of the day, it's still a tough spot to go,
Right.
tough place to go, coming off of 2 losses, 2 straight back-to-back losses, and the importance of this game for the Washington Commanders. I think they do go down there and get the job done. Really close game. Can't really guess throw a score out there, but I think that it'll be a tight game, well contested game, very competitive, fun one to watch, man. And I look forward to it on Sunday, checking this one out for sure. But let's move on, unless you have any final thoughts on the Washington Commanders.
No, just win and get yourself back in a playoff race.
Let's get to the next NFC East team that got absolutely humiliated on Sunday. And that would be the team that's been humiliated pretty much every damn Sunday. And that would be the New York Football Giants, the team that I and Adam love. Myself and Adam absolutely love this team, and they are doing nothing to deserve the love we give them. But
You're not allowed to
we
boo,
love them
Mac.
not. But we
Not
love them
allowed.
nonetheless. The New York Football Giants once again getting embarrassed down in Miami, 31-16, and this could have been much worse. Miami played a terrible football game and still busted the New York Giants' ass. Put that into perspective. So, Adam, you can go ahead and get started with this one.
This game is annoying to me because these are the games that you want to steal if you're trying to be a good team, right? The defense is not great. If you had a good big time quarterback who could elevate you, you'd be in these games. Yeah, he had a couple throws, one to Waller that was good, but he also missed, Jalen Hyatt wide open of the sticks. Wandale Robinson right there in the third quarter. When you're down, you need a big play. You're right there. Also, when the turnover happens, you don't get any points off of a turnover when they get there. This is what we talk about. This is horrible. On offense, it's broken. It's broken offense right now. The offensive line, when he does get time, our quarterback doesn't see him. When he does see him, he throws the ball out of bounds, or he's sacking himself, or in this case, getting injured. And we'll talk about his injury in a minute. But this team is dysfunctional. Barkley's yelling at fans. We got the defense can't stop a nosebleed. Now, I can't poo-poo them a lot because they did get 3 turnovers. When you get 3 turnovers, you need to score points. They even got a pick six, which is one of the hardest things to do, is a recovery or some type of return. You do all that, and you still lose the game. Oh, by the way, the Miami Dolphins, in a blink of an eye, go downfield and score. They had a 1-minute drive. They lead the league in 1-minute drives. They had 500 yards of total offense, 200 yards by their running back. Okay? If it wasn't for 2 dumb throws by Tua, he would have a clean game. Oh, boy, the defense played great. They couldn't get him off the field on third down. The Miami Dolphins punted once. Let that sink in.
In the fourth quarter.
The Miami Dolphins punted once. It's like, yes, it's like what Big Simple said. I said this to somebody else. It's like Madden out there. It's literally like Madden out there. You know what I mean? But this team, it's not mentally strong enough to get over the hurdles. They're pointing the fingers at the offense. McKinney's like, oh, don't blame the defense, blame the offense. That's the start of a team that's starting to fracture. That's the signs of a team that's starting to crumble when you start to point fingers at the other side. And now, for all intents and purposes, we've probably seen we might not see Daniel Jones for the remainder of the year. They're thinking this optimistic. Well, guess what? There's still some soreness. The MRI wasn't negative. It was apparently positive. So there's something going on in that neck. Guess what, Giant fans? We're drafting a quarterback whether you like it or not, because insurance policy is if this guy has a bad neck at any point and it can go out because of he said that if he takes the wrong hit, he can feel pain. Listen, man, you need to take one as a backup. I don't care whether it's 1 or whether it's 2. Invest in the position, because right now we don't know where this guy is going to go beyond the fact that he has played terrible this season. I don't want to see ever a guy go out with injury, but this is if the Giants want to move on, and I know they're putting out flyers. Oh, the Giants have failed Daniel Jones. No, the Giants didn't fail Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones failed Daniel Jones. Okay, sure, the offensive line doesn't work. We know that. But when it's there to be made, these are the games we need you in, and you missed out on some of them. Now, I can't blame them for everything, but if I'm the Giants, I got to look at the future. And I can't say this. We already know what this guy's going to be. You have to bring him back in 2024. But what if he gets hit in 2024 and his back goes up again and you have no insurance policy there? That would be dumb and bad for business. I don't care what anybody tells me. You need to bring somebody in here next offseason, preferably for the draft, to usher it in. Because right now, this guy has lack of confidence. He has a bad neck, and it's over. So now we have to move on. We have to look to the future. And if we lose this game, we need to start trading people. We need to start building that future. Because the Giants, who went out and had a great season, a year before, is now having a rough season this year. This is the season we expected last year. And Dayball is also at fault here. There's some things I don't understand that he does that are sometimes mind-numbing. You're like, what are you doing, bro? Like, timeouts? You're using them up in the fourth quarter like we need that shit? Like, we're losing the game. What does a timeout do? Someone said, I was in a Twitter space, they're like, oh, he's punishing the team. This guy knows what's happening. The team is falling apart. Do the right thing, Giants. Come out and tell us, look, this is why we might pick up a quarterback this season as an insurance policy. Doesn't mean we don't love Daniel, blah, blah, blah. Bring him in. And then tear it down and away we go. Because at this point, we're not winning. If we lose to Buffalo, which you and I think we might, because we can't even stop Miami Dolphins.
I don't think we might. I think I'm pretty damn confident we will. It's not a think that we might.
Like, if you look at the injury report today, there's like 7 starters that did not practice today. 7 starters. And now they want to bring in Lyle Collins and some other guys, and those are supposed to be the saviors of the line. Guys who haven't played in over a year, who have no football shape, haven't done anything football related. Maybe they're in shape, lifted weights and stuff like that. But that's different than when you have a 300-pound body coming at you across the field.
Honestly, Adam, man, at this point though, what I've seen through 5 weeks with this offensive line, at this point, I'm not shutting the door on anybody that's coming in and trying to maybe that can make any form of an improvement, because I just feel like I agree with what you said with Daniel Jones, that I'm not even going to touch on that really anymore, because I pretty much agree with you. I'm in agreement with you. Unfortunately, it's not just all him, but he hasn't taken advantage of the opportunities that he does get either. So that part is on him. But I'm not gonna keep beating that dead horse. But
Can't anymore.
at the end of the day, this offensive line, man, I'm sorry. It just really makes my skin crawl to watch these guys out there play as poorly as this unit plays, man. It's just Bad Dog said on one of his shout out to Bad Dog said on one of his videos earlier this week. And I didn't even think about it like that. The New York Giants literally did start 4 guards in Evan Neal on Sunday on offensive line. That's essentially what the New York Giants started across their own line. And you know how I feel about Evan Neal. He's a guard too. So in my opinion, they started 5 offensive guards on their offensive line.
Well,
on Sunday. That's what the New York Giants are doing have done out there and presented to this fan base, man. And it's disgraceful, man.
But
what are you gonna say?
I'm not saying that Pugh and Lyle Collins aren't going to help, but Pugh's already a week into his tenure. They're not sure he's going to play this week yet to get him ramped up, right? He has to be called up from the practice squad. So he has like 3 call-ups. And let's say you sign Lyle Collins, and he has 3 call-ups. My point is, by the time these guys get fully emaciated in the offense, we're going to be out of it anyway. So for me, it's like, yeah, I want to bring in guys here like Cajuste. I like Cajuste. He's young. He's had some off-the-field issues that might have prevented him and some injuries. That's a guy, okay, that makes sense to bring him in. He's a young guy. Justin Pugh, 33 years old, coming off an injury. I don't know if I want to bring that guy in. Cajuste at least played football. Tyree Phillips is over at the Eagles. We're not even calling that guy up. He's played on the team. You could get a guy in here tomorrow, and he could come in here Thursday, be ready to go by Friday, be on the plane by Saturday, starting on Sunday, because he already knows your system. My point is, if you bring in a guy like Collins, we still have to wait a few weeks for them to get even acclimated to football at least. So now let's say we lose this game, or when we lose this game, then the Commanders, who might be looking their chops saying, hey, we can get win number 3 or win number 4 against the Giants, and they come to town and the line's not ready. So now we lose that game. We're at 1-6. Then when we go against the Jets, and I'm supposed to believe that now Justin Pugh, who's not played, and Lyle Collins, who's not played, are now going to go up against that Jet defense, who's going to be probably frothing at the mouth looking at us. I'm just saying, like, while I like the idea of it, we got to also understand where we're at as an organization right now.
I mean, I get it, but this I hear you, but this like at this point, what can can anything be worse than what we've seen through 5 weeks with this offensive line? I just feel like nothing can be worse, man. Like it just. I feel like you can just go to the fucking grocery store and find the 5 biggest fucking guys you can find at the grocery store, and even that could be fucking better than what we've seen through 5 fucking weeks at this offensive line. Like, here's the thing. Me and my boy, shout out my boy Philly B, man. We were talking earlier this week, and he was like, he was texting me. He was like, man, yeah, he's like, hey, y'all revolving door offensive line, and I replied back to him. No, a revolving door gives more resistance than our offensive line, because at least the revolving door you got to kind of push your way around until you get there. Our offensive line, it's like it ain't even no. You don't have to push them around. Oh, you just run straight through them like they're not even there. So this is the shit that I've been talking about with this offensive line. It's like the pressure. The problem with the pressure. It's one thing if you know you're a little weak on the left side, or you're a little weak on the right side, or maybe your interior is a little weak, and that's the area you need to kind of watch out for. But with this offensive line, it's weak all the way across. So the pressure just comes from every fucking where. You don't even know how to brace yourself and get ready for the pressure, because you don't know where to expect it to come from, because it's literally coming from everywhere. That's how bad this offensive line has been. It's been absolutely ridiculous to watch. And the fact that, like you said, you got guys calling out Evan Neal, calling out the fans and all kind of dumb shit like that, and they're playing this poorly, man. It makes it even that much tougher. Now, the Saquon Barkley thing, yelling up in the fans in the stands, I'm cool with that with Saquon Barkley, because that was a classless thing. Whatever was going on with those fans cheering Daniel Jones getting injured, whatever, you don't cheer a guy getting injured. That's just classless. You don't cheer a guy getting hurt, especially a neck injury. You don't sit there and cheer and
Oh, I
stand up
get
and
it.
clap or
We
whatever
also have to block it out too.
whatever they were doing. So yeah, but no, I get Saquon Barkley's frustration with that, because that's coming from a place of ignorance. That's not like Evan Neal clapping back at the fans. That's fans come. Like, I'll take you back years ago, when Michael Irvin, his career-ending injury, he suffered at
Oh, yeah.
Veterans Stadium, and those Eagle fans in Veterans Stadium, it was despicable. The way they cheered and celebrated Michael Irving suffering a career-ending injury. You just don't cheer things like that, man. It's some things you just don't. And I don't know the details of whatever was going on with those fans that Barkley was yelling at, but I'm okay with that, because he was defending his guy for fans being completely out of pocket. You know what I mean? That was out of pocket. But that's just how I feel about that. The defense now, let's get to this defense, because people have been telling me, a couple people have been in my ear a little bit, oh, y'all defense played good. Because they had 3 turnovers. Yeah, 3 turnovers is good. But 524 yards of offense surrendered is not good. That just cancels it all out. It cancels what you did with the turnovers out, because you gave up 524 yards of offense. You had one drive at one point was 3 plays for like 95 yards or something like
It
that.
was 1
Come
minute.
on.
1
Like,
minute.
give me a break. That's not good defense. That's absolutely terrible. They had chunk plays all day long. Chunk plays, big chunk plays. You gave up a 70-something yard touchdown run, a 60-something yard touchdown pass. That's not playing good.
260.
And once again, the missed. Yeah, well, that too, yeah. Once again, the missed tackles everywhere, man. It's this whole. It's a complete team breakdown. Yes, sure. Is what I have to, if I had to pick a unit playing better right now, Johnson? Yeah, the defense is probably playing better, but how good is that saying? Because the offense is absolutely terrible. That's absolutely a joke. So it doesn't take much to play better than that. All 3 phases of the New York Giants team has been playing bad all season. Offense, defense, special teams. It's been terrible. And then Brian Dable, man, I take issue with you sitting here, instead of just getting to the point and saying, "No, we're going to sit our quarterback down this week." What are we doing here? What are we trying to play games for? What's gamesmanship? No, you should be straight up like, no, I'm not putting my quarterback back out there with a bad neck behind this shitty ass offensive line, and letting him go out there and get absolutely killed on Sunday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills, because that's what's going to happen. I'm already got the Tommy DeVito countdown on, because Tyrod Taylor will probably suffer a similar fate Sunday night, as we saw what happened when he got in the game on Sunday, running for his fucking life. Just in that short stint that he was in the game, he was back there running for his life and almost got hurt as well in that little short time that he was in the game. So many things need to be corrected with this football team, but this offensive line has to get right. And with whoever the young quarterback that the New York Giants draft next year, they got to figure something out in that department, because you can't throw a young quarterback behind an offensive line like this. You just can't. You got to figure something out. Something has to be figured out up front there. And
Well,
That's pretty much.
I don't think any real solutions are coming through the door anytime soon. I think you'll get veteran guys who might stabilize something, but I still think there might be breakdowns here and there as they get acclimated to playing with each other. And two guys coming off injuries, right? As for the defense, McKinney, how dare you blow an assignment and then point at the offense for, you know, your transgressions? Oh, well, don't look at us. The offense has problems. I mean, you clearly blew the assignment. You clearly blew it. You left it. I don't think Wink Martindale was like, hey, you know what? Let me leave Trey Hawkins out one-on-one with Tyreek Hill. I don't think he was that dumb to do that. I think he did that knowing that there was a safety on the top. You went for a tight end and jumped the under route, and they went right over the top of you, right by you. And then you have the audacity to call out the offense. I mean, these are the things that are bad that make me not believe this team can make a run at any wins, because you're already starting to see a fracture in the locker room of whose fault is it. And don't get me started if Tyrod Taylor looks anything good on Sunday, because that'll just open a whole nother can of worms as well. So basically what this team has got to do is maybe some of the 10 captains can maybe have a players-only meeting or something and stand up and say, we're not going to tolerate losing anymore. We're going to try our best to go out there and win. I mean, they are giving effort, but it just seems like for whatever reason they can't seal deals. The defense gets 3 turnovers, like you said, 500 yards. They punted once. So what does that 3 turnovers mean? You punted them once. Yet 3 turnovers, you got 13 points out of the 3 turnovers. Like, you need, and one of them was on the pick 6.
No, 10 points,
10
Adam.
points.
10 points out of
points.
3 turnovers.
Sorry, 10 points out of the 3 turnovers. 10, because your offense can only get 3, and your defense has to run 102 yards to get you another one. Guess what? That may not happen next week. Maybe you'll get a pick. You may not return it, but they got a fumble in this game. They did nothing with the fumble. This team needs to figure it out. I'm reading the transcript of Tyrod Taylor, and they're asking him, well, the offensive line, you won't be able to make explosive plays. He goes, no, that's our job, is to find a way to make explosive plays. Okay? So what that means is he's going to try to throw the ball downfield regardless of what's in his face or what's not. And let's see if that works, because you never know. Someone might get called for a pass interference. When's the last time you saw the Giants get called for a pass interference? They get called on the defense all the time. And speaking, one last thing about the defense, Isaiah Simmons, can you get off a damn block? They ran right down to your throat. That 76-yard touchdown went right up your ass. Literally, you were the linebacker. That was right there, and they gave the guy the old ole as he ran by.
Yeah, in the chat, Afghanistan, baby, oh yeah. Even if he says, even if we had a quarterback who was flat out dynamite, we'd be massively held back by this O-line. I appreciate the opinions of folks who feel DJ has never been it, but the line is unacceptably bad. And I'm on that same kind of fence with you a little bit as well, because I said something similar to this to somebody like earlier in the week, and a coworker I was talking to, as a matter of fact. And I was saying, I said, behind this offensive line, the quarterbacks like, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows, and Justin Herberts, the guys we consider the great quarterbacks of this league currently right now, Patrick Mahomes is a whole nother something else. So I'm not including him right now. That's why I didn't include his name right now. He's probably the only quarterback that can somehow look good behind this offensive line because he's not human. But those like other quarterbacks, the other ones I just listed, like the ones we consider like Jalen Hurts, the kind of the great quarterbacks right now of this league right now, those guys will look probably average behind this offensive line. That's how bad this O-line is. And we have a quarterback like Daniel Jones, who I think now, at least I'm definitely on that fence. I know how Adam feels about him. Adam probably feels even lesser than I do about him, actually, because I still consider at least an average guy. He's an average guy. He looks like absolute complete trash behind this O-line, because it's just, he's a guy, he's an average type of guy, and he's not able to elevate behind this situation at all in any kind of way, shape, or form. But
here's what it comes down to. Bad quarterback play and bad O-line play make for a horrible offense. Okay? That's essentially what it is. If one was playing better than the other, we could have a semblance of an offense, but they're both playing terrible, so it's hard to kind of, I get the O-line junkies and the Daniel haters, and I'm now at both. I know what a good quarterback is supposed to help the line, as well as a good line is supposed to help the quarterback. It works hand in hand. And so right now, Nobody can play around this. But at this point, my point is it's going to be time to move on, regardless of what we want to do. If we were, not, I don't think we're coming out of this hole. I don't know how many games we're going to win, but I don't think we're going to the playoffs. I mean, there's not many teams that go 1-5 that make the playoffs. You know how many percentage points it is or something like that? It's like 4% chance, a 4% chance of going to the playoffs. And oh, by the way, the injury list, as you see when we lose, is going to get longer and longer and longer. The Giants haven't used any IR spots yet. They haven't put in maybe they should put Andrew Thomas on IR for 4 weeks and say, listen, come back to us at the end of the year instead of saying this day-to-day shit. Instead of doing this competitive advantage shit. You made a point about Brian Dable, and we can move on after this because I know we got other games to talk about. But Brian Dable, who are you trying to fool with the Buffalo Bills? Who are you trying to fool? The guy didn't practice today. You said he had soreness in his back. He even said that if he takes a hit wrong, something could go wrong. What in God's name are you trying to tell me that he's traipsing out there for? Are you insane? Like, I know you don't like the guy. It's clear that you don't like the kid, and that's fine by me. I'm on board with you. But, what happens? What happens when you have this guy out there and he gets hit by this line? But the Bills defense are number 1 in sacks in the league right now, and they're getting a fresh Von Miller. They might have Leonard Floyd and A.J. Epinesa. And you have guards who can't block.
Gregory Rousseau.
Gregory Rousseau might be back as well. You have a couple of those guys. Our whole line can't block. We can't block the 27th ranked defense in the league. And now you want me to believe we're going to block the team that has the most sacks in the league? Oh no! By the way, they played a heck of a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That defense, they came in and AJ Espinosa came in and made plays. Guys continue to make plays. They just couldn't get over the hump offensively to that Jacksonville defense. Give them credit. Well, we don't have that defense. And Josh Allen. This is a game where Josh Allen can probably throw 2 turnovers and they still win the football game. But don't tell me you're going to put him out there.
That's what Tua did.
Just tell us Tyrod's starting. That's it. Why do we have to play these games? You're not Bill Parcells. You're not Bill Belichick. You don't need he's got an ankle. He's got a knee. We got that with Joe Judge. We don't need that with you. Just be yourself. Say, yo, man, guy's going to take a rest. Even if he were healthy and he could play, I'm giving them the time off to heal up and get his mental psyche ready. Almost like a benching. Almost like, hey, man, you've played terribly. Let's give you a rest. See if we get some of these guys healthy for you, and then we can bring you back, right? That's what you should do. That would be the smart idea. You telling me that you want to traipse him out there against Buffalo tells me all I need to know about you and how you feel about this kid.
Yeah, I mean, to me, here's where I'm at with it. It would be absolutely irresponsible to put Daniel Jones out on that field on Sunday night against this Buffalo Bills defense behind this disgrace of an offensive line. I mean, literally, Joshua Zudo was in the locker room crying after the game on Sunday. Crying after the game because he knew he got his quarterback absolutely destroyed. He looked like he got decapitated with that hit. It was that bad. It would be irresponsible at this point to put that young man back on the field with all he's already been through, all the hits he's already taken this season. It would be irresponsible. It would be totally irresponsible, and I would be disappointed. I would be disappointed as a Giants fan if Daniel Jones came running out that locker room on Sunday night to play a game against the Buffalo Bills. There's no way in the world coming off with an injury in his neck the week prior should he be out on that field against a defense like this, like I said, with absolutely zero protection in front of him. Because guess what, guys? The offensive line is not going to just wake up on Sunday morning and be good. They're going to still be the same trash-ass offensive line that they've been the entire season so far. And nothing's going to change. So, like I said, Tyrod Taylor, good luck and watch out, man. But I'm already got the countdown for Tommy DeVito on because I'm just not seeing Tyrod surviving this situation, man. He's already a little more even fragile than Daniel Jones, to be quite frank. So we'll see what happens, man. But Adam, do you think the New York Giants have any chance whatsoever in this game Sunday night?
No.
And I'm right there with you. No. So we can move on. All right. To the next team, the only team to get a victory on Sunday in the NFC East, man. The Philadelphia Eagles, the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, sitting at the top of the division, 5-0, looking like they are poised to repeat, be the first repeat winner in almost 20 years in the NFC East, man. So,
Like the anniversary of them winning back to back. So
and they were the last team to do it. Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles. Also,
and
that's
they will be doing it this year as well.
it. Certainly appears that way. What you feel about this game, Adam?
It's another good game, by the Eagles, Jalen Hurst, the feisty Rams they're not a great team, but they're probably trying to fight for a wild card spot. AJ Brown went off again. Jalen Hurst was the leading rusher. They need to get Smith back in the game a little bit more because he had 70 yards. Like, you need to keep that guy in the game. I mean, he is explosive. But when you have Jalen Hurts running for 15, 42 yards and throwing for 300 yards, and he had a touchdown rushing and a touchdown passing, that's the Eagles for you. They just keep cranking out the wins. And the Rams are a good team. They're a formidable team. It's not like they didn't put up some yardage. They weren't great, but they did what they had to do. And what the difference is sacks allowed and punts allowed. The Eagles punted once. The Rams punted 4 times. That's 4 possessions that you've given up. And they only had 1 turnover, but that doesn't matter because the Eagles know how to win without playing at the cleanest of games. And this is what we talk about when winning teams. They do play San Francisco this season. They play them after the Jets. So this Jet game that they play, it's the Eagles. Their schedule goes. Actually, no. Excuse me. They don't play San Fran next week. They play the Jets, Miami, the Commanders, Cowboys, the Chiefs, and then December 3rd they play San Francisco. That could be probably for the division, the conference home bye week. Whoever wins that game, but I think the Eagles we have to give them credit where credit's due. They're winning. They're a good team. They're the defending champs. And I don't know who's going to knock them off, to be honest with you. I don't even know if San Francisco is going to knock them off. That's how good they are. San Francisco is arguably the best team in the conference, but the Eagles just find ways to win. And then on the other end, their defense is coming to play. I mean, they only gave up 14 points to a Rams team that's, competent. You know what I mean? They're not a bad Rams team by any means, but, they put up 31 against Seattle. They scored some points against the 49ers. So, you got to give credit where credit's due. They stopped the run. They didn't give up a 100-yard rusher. Jalen Carter is an absolute beast. And that's about it. Puka Nacua didn't have a game, but Cooper Kupp came back and had one. So I can't really say anything bad about this team. I mean, it's hard. I hate to say it because of the freaking Eagles.
No, I mean, look, it is what it is. They're, like I said, keep finding ways to win football games, and like I said, it might not be pretty, but it's amounting to victories. And they are sitting here at 5-0, and they are very much a good football team. No matter how you feel about it, you just got to keep it real, man. This is a good football team. They find ways to win. Like I said, they're winning ugly a little bit, but they get the job done. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a big day, 25 of 38, 303 yards, a touchdown. He did have an interception, but he also got it done on the ground, 15 carries for 72 yards and a touch. So on the ground, so Jalen Hurts led him in rushing this week, but overall, 159 yards on the ground. That's once again another solid effort on the ground. And this team can run the football really well, and then Jalen Hurts can get it done with his arm when needed be. I mean, 200-yard receivers in this game. AJ Brown, 6 catches for 127 yards. Dallas Goedert, 8 catches for 117 and a touchdown. I mean, this team is loaded, and they're a tough out. They're going to be a tough out, man. I can't wait to get to that San Fran Eagles matchup, because what if both of these teams run the table up until then, man? Could you imagine that?
Wow.
how amazing that game would be? Then if
I mean,
both these teams can run the table up to that point.
arguably, you're probably looking at San Francisco and Philadelphia as the winner of the Super Bowl, because I think they're that strong that even in the AFC, Kansas City has some chinks in the armor. There's no real dominant team in the AFC that we're looking at. I mean, the Bills might be that team, but we don't know. But the NFC, they look strong. Those two teams look the strongest in the entire NFL. So we may be seeing this team in late January and February fighting for that. I'm think stranger things could happen. The Cowboys could decide to get their heads out of their ass and start to play, but we'll get to them in a minute. But the Eagles, man, and you know the worst part about the Eagles is right now is we still haven't seen them play their perfect game. We still haven't seen them play like this
No, that's
perfect,
exactly it.
and they still win.
Not at all.
And you got to think
Yeah,
that
but
5 weeks in. Go ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I was gonna
No,
say like
five
when their
weeks in.
backs are against the wall a little bit, they get it. They find ways to get it done, man.
But it's just like they're just. It's not even like they're hitting adversity. They're just winning, and you're just like it's not. I don't want to say it's pretty, but I feel like last year they were winning and they're blowing people out. Now they're just winning, and we have nothing to criticize them about except that they're not blowing the teams out, but they're just winning. They're finding a way, whether it's an interception here, a sack there, fumble there, defense giving up 14 points. I mean, they're coming together quietly, and this is why it's scary to me because I think this team on paper is better than last year's team. They just haven't played to their capability yet, to me. And I think once they figure it out, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. Like I said, the fact that you said this team hasn't put that like perfect game out, and they're sitting here at 5-0. It's scary to think with this team's full capabilities truly are. I agree. I think this team is better than the team a year ago. I mean, because I mean last year they won and it was a lot of style points, but and that looks flashy, fun for the fans. I guess a little more fun for the fans. But at the end of the day, I like when you can go out there and show that you can win early, win by a certain your will, man. Like late in the football game and getting it done, like and shutting that door on your opponent. That's what this Philadelphia Eagles team has been doing all through these first 5 weeks of the season, man. Against everybody
I think
they've played against. I mean, everybody they played against thus far has kind of gave them that little bit of a scare of a possibility of, oh, is this team going to beat the Eagles? But the Eagles seem to keep slamming. Other than that Tampa Bay game, they kind of handled that. But they slammed the door. But this team slams the door. Definitely has been slamming the door on their opponents, man, and especially in the fourth quarter when they need to get it done, when there's a play that needs to be made, this team is making those plays.
and this game was the one where their defense really, I think, came out and really helped. I mean, Hassan Reddick had a couple sacks. Jalen Carter looked good. You're starting to see their defense start to come alive, and that's when this team is going to be really scary when they start to get more and more turnovers. Right? They didn't have a turnover last week. I don't think, at least no interceptions by Matthew Stafford or anything like that. So once they start to get those interceptions and they start to click again, this team is going to be like they're already a tough out. They're like the Rubik's cube of the NFL right now. They're just hard to figure out. But at the end of the day, they're always challenging and they always seem to stump you on how they win things.
What's going on, Wells, man? Thanks for stopping in, bro. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, but yeah, this game was actually pretty fun. Saw most of this game. This was a really good competitive, hard fought game. These two teams were going at it. It was a point in time in this game where I thought the Rams were going to pull off the upset, but like I said, the Eagles slammed that door, man, late in the game and
I
handled.
think they
Cooper
do it
Cup
on
came back
purpose.
for the Rams. I mean, I want to shout. I mean, I know this NFC show, but shout out Cooper Cup coming back in his first game back, first action back this season. Eight catches for 118 yards, and with Puka adding 7 catches and 71 yards, the Rams got like a little dynamic duo right there at the receiver position going forward as well. So watch out for the Rams the rest of the way, man. Who knows? They might be fighting for one of those wild card spots later on when we get to the later part of this season, man. So keep Rams one of those fun teams. Keep an eye on. But Eagles, like you said, they got the Jets coming up this Sunday, man. What do you expect from this game?
It's interesting because I don't think the Jets really have much of a chance, but I think their best chance is to give it to their running backs and kind of let the game be dictated that way. Defensively, it's going to be fun to watch to see what the Jet defense can do to this Eagle offense. Because if they can force turnovers, I mean, granted, it's not the Denver Broncos. I get it. I understand. And they're not going to, they had to get up in that game against Denver to win it, right? But if they can come to play a little bit, the Jet defense, and keep the game close, maybe they can steal one here. I'm not saying they will. I think the Eagles are going to somehow find a way to win. Zach Wilson's not a Hall of Famer by any means, and I think they will have him make turnovers and things like that. But if you're a Jet fan, you got to think maybe if Zach plays just enough and takes what the defense gives him, and the running backs go off, and the defense can force a couple turnovers, you never know. I mean, they have a championship level defense, and they forced a turnover last week. They closed out the game for the Jets last week. They helped get the ball back for the Jets. Obviously, I know the Jets have lost a couple linemen and things like that, but this is not the game the Jets are really looking to win. But they need to put a good showing out there to believe that maybe they can rattle off a couple towards the end of the year and get 7 or 8 wins and make a season that was terrible more salvageable.
The Jets series, like you said, this is such a weird team, the Jets, because like you said, championship level defense and a very problematic offense. It's just offense that also just is kind of, I wouldn't call it quite as broken as the New York Giants offense, but it's pretty bad as well. And it's unfortunate the Aaron Rodgers injury, how it's derailed this New York Jets season with the high expectations they had. But I think their best plan would be to come out and try to establish that run, try to establish some kind of a ground game, and just kind of try to get the Eagles on their heels, man. Because I don't think they're going to be able to come out and rely on Zach Wilson throwing the ball all over the yard against this Philadelphia Eagle defense. And then hopefully their defense also can just can rattle Jalen Hurts just enough to maybe throw him off his game a little bit, man. But
The only
again,
thing,
AJ Brown and company are just that's
ooh,
also no easy task out there to try to defend.
Sauce
I mean, I
Gardner.
know you got Sauce Gardner. I know you got Sauce Gardner out there, but they got multiple weapons that can hurt you in the passing game. So including their running backs out of the backfield. So
You think
it's
it's a
gonna
trap
this is
game?
a tough ask for anybody.
You think it's a
You think?
trap game? They play Miami the next week.
Nah, I mean it could be. But I just think the Jets don't have nearly enough offense to keep up with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that's just the difference in this game. Because obviously we know the Jets can do defensively, and they're going to get their stops and probably force a turnover maybe or two. But I just think when it comes down to it, it's like what I was talking about prior. We were talking about how the Eagles won the game again this past Sunday. When it gets down like to the fourth quarter, the Eagles just find a way to close that door, man, and that just shows you the signs of a great football team, a team that just knows what it takes to win and knows what they got to do to get the job done, and they get it done. And I just think I think the Jets just can't keep up offensively, and I think this is going to be a little too much for them when it's all. I can see the game being another close competitive game, and from a standpoint just because the Jets defense is that good. But I just think they won't have enough to be able to make that clutch score when it counts. Whereas the Eagles, I think, are capable of doing just that. I mean, like I said, they can beat you in a multitude of ways. They have weapons all over the place. They got top 5 players at almost every key position on offense, bro. Like seriously, and that's not even an exaggeration. They have top 5 players at almost every key position. So it's like, what are you gonna
Strength
do,
on
man? What
strength.
can you do? So we'll see. It will be fun watching this Eagle offense against this Jets defense. That will definitely be a fun thing to watch, fun matchup to watch, man. But yeah, I don't see the Jets being able to get it done. Yeah, I agree, Simple. It is there. That's why I was saying you try to get some kind of a similar to the run game. Brees Hall, throw some Dalvin Cook in there. Where's the use up with the uses of Dalvin Cook in this Jets offense? I thought what was the point of signing him if you're going to bring him in to pretty much barely use him? I don't know. I don't get it, but I'm not in y'all meetings and y'all practices, whatever the hell's going on. But like, when are we going to start seeing a little bit more of him? I'm Brees Hall. Like I said, get these guys going, and that's probably your best chance you got is to try to establish a good strong run game because that is still the Eagles' one semi weak point, and it's not even as weak as it was a season ago. For instance, they're definitely better at defending the run than they were a season ago, but it's still not what you would consider their strong point defensively. So you got to try to get that established, man. and get it done, man. But I don't, like I said, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I see the Eagles still find a way to win this football game, but I think it will be probably a little closer than people might think.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, the Jets, if they force turnovers are a great equalizer in the game. Unlike the Jets have. I don't know. But if they can figure it out a little bit and they can make the game simple for Zach where he doesn't have to win everything and give the ball to Brees Hall and let Brees Hall, Carter, and Dalvin Cook kind of get going, then maybe they have a shot. Like the only reason I think it might be a trap game is if the Eagles, who came off a win against the Rams, and are looking at the Jets saying, hey, they're kind of like a similar team. We don't need to worry about them. Let's worry about Miami that just railroaded the Giants. How are we going to stop them? And it's human nature to think that, right? I mean, this team's not 0-4. They have a couple wins. They played hard against Kansas City, so you can't really take them that lightly. But if you do come into the Meadowlands and you think that you're a little bit inferior, that could play into keeping the game close, because then the Jets, they do have some swagger on that defense. They do score on that defense. And they do have special teams that is pretty good with Xavier Gibson that can also keep them in the game. So
I agree, man. I definitely agree with you, Adam, man. But with that said, like I said, I think the Eagles do still go move on to 6-0. But it'll probably be a fun one to watch, just because of how good this Jets defense is. Like you said, they'll always Jets defense will make pretty much most of their games, keep most of their games pretty interesting. As far as that's how
competitive,
talented that defensive unit is. Yeah,
the pass rush is insane.
absolutely. And now we got one more NFC East team that decided to go out there on Sunday and absolutely get embarrassed. In a huge Sunday night matchup, we had the Dallas Cowboys visiting the San Francisco 49ers, and this was a big game. Huge game. I mean, for a different couple different reasons, and obviously it doesn't technically mean that much on the season right now as things stand. But at the end of the day, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan or just a part of that team, this was a game that you really really wanted to go out there and make a statement. And the Cowboys made a statement for all the wrong reasons in this one here, going out there and getting trashed 42-10. Man, Adam, how you feel about this one, brother?
It's an absolute shitstorm for the Cowboys. You got Micah Parsons talking some smack a bit, saying, George Kittle go F himself. Sure, we got something for him. Listen, this is a game you were supposed to be in. This is a game where your quarterback was supposed to win you some games, and he looked pedestrian. They look like a varsity team out there, a junior varsity team out there going against the varsity in high school. I mean, it was not even a contest. And can we not say that Brock Purdy is not good anymore? He's a pretty good quarterback. Okay, he does what they have him to ask. He makes plays all over the field quietly, I might ask, and they win games. Defensively, they are phenomenal over there on that defensive side of the ball. San Francisco is probably, if the Eagles are 1A, they're 1B. They're right up there that close. They can do anything. The tight end came to life this game, George Kittle. And I think the Cowboys kind of felt themselves a little bit. They came off that bad loss the previous week. They came off that big win against the Patriots, and I think they were feeling themselves a bit, saying like, well, we're going to destroy Brock Purdy. And once they took 11 out of the game, it kind of, ruined their defensive game plan. Like if he's not wrecking the game, the Cowboys don't know what to do, So we'll see how the Cowboys bounce back. But man, to talk about eyes being opened on national TV, that was a butt whooping. At least we scored 12 points. If you want to pull anything anything positive out of it, the Giants scored 12 points on this 49er team, and the Cowboys could only score 10.
Oh, it's a shame. The small victories, the things we have to reach for as Giants right now.
Wow, we scored
I
2 more
tell
points than
you.
we did. Yes.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, okay, that's one way to look at it. We can also remember that Dallas Cowboys beat us 40-0 week one. So,
Well, don't take it away.
but the, but this Dallas team, man, they needed to go out there and I had picked them to win this game. I thought they were going to be up big time for this game. I thought they were going to be hyped, be on fire. I thought this was going to be like, yeah, Dallas is going to go out there and show what they made of, and show that they are amongst, like, truly amongst, like, on that same level with the Eagles, 49ers, and they did absolutely the opposite of that, and they proved that they are very much still a notch below those two football teams in the NFC, man. I think as things are going right now, you still probably have to consider the Dallas Cowboys the third best in the conference. Well, no, I'd say the Detroit Lions right now actually are, honestly. I'd even put the Detroit above Dallas right now, currently as things stand, actually. But I think Washington is still very much up in. I mean, Dallas is up in the mix a little bit, but they're not where they are not where the 49ers and the Eagles are. They went out there and proved that Sunday night. Dak Prescott. Let me talk about Dak Prescott a little bit, man, because I told you I've told you how I feel about Dak Prescott, and some people think that I'm a hater, and fine, you can think I'm a hater, but Dak Prescott beats up on bums. He beats up on bums. He gets his gaudy numbers against the bums, and he just does not show up for the big boys, man. He just never shows up for the big boys, and this was another prime example of that. Again, Dak Prescott went out there on national TV. You got every chance in the world to make a statement, Dak Prescott, and you go 14 of 24 for 153 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. That's not going to get it done. That's why when you're talking about the great quarterbacks of the league right now, I just can't put him up there with those guys, man. I mean, he's good. He's like better than our quarterback. Yeah, he's better than Daniel Jones, but he's not up there with the Josh Allens and those guys that I was talking about earlier. He's just not. You can't put him amongst those names. He just never seems to be able to get it done when it matters, man. I'm talking about even the regular season, postseason. He just doesn't get it done when it counts the most, man. When the lights shine the brightest, Dak Prescott has games like this. Now, I mean, if he played against teams like the Giants every week or teams like that, then sure, he'd be the top quarterback in the league, because that's what he does, and that's what he's always done. He's made a career of doing that, and I stand by what I say. Dak Prescott, that's what he's been his whole career. He's been that guy that can beat up on the bad teams, but when you bring a team like this 49er team in that's ready to get after it, I'm sorry. He just seems to always go away, fold, and like I said, throw a clunker up like this, man. I mean, 10 points on Sunday Night Football against the 49ers, a team that you really need to go out there and have something to prove against. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about this performance. It was terrible.
But at least they have an option in house if they want to try Trey Lance, right? Like they traded for Trey Lance to be in the system. I don't know if that's going to be their guy, but a friend of mine texted me. He's like, I'm over Dak Prescott. I'm like, listen, you traded for a guy. You have a guy there that if your season was going south, I'd want to see him in there, but you're still in it. They're still somehow going to bounce back, and they may not beat the Chargers this week, but they definitely will at least be in the conversation, and they might be angry. So I don't know how they're going to come off. If they come off and play angry, then the Chargers might be in for a long evening on Monday night. If they come out and lay an egg, who knows? I mean, like I said, Micah Parsons is angry. Dak Prescott, he is who he is, man. It's not that he's changed. I think something has happened to him, though, because if you look at his older tape, like after the 2019, 2020, 2021 season, I don't know if it's Amari Cooper. I don't know if they were just because they threw downfield more, but it seemed like that team was a lot more explosive than this team is. And I think that's what they're lacking right now is the explosive plays that they need. I mean, he's just not – I don't know what he's looking at. Maybe he needs glasses and laser eye surgery. I know he's on Lowe's commercials. Those commercials are going to be pulled off real quick there, Dak Prescott, if you don't start showing up, because Baker Mayfield, he lost Progressive. You'll lose Lowe's because of bad play. So we'll see. Again, he has a chance to bounce back against the Chargers, who I want the Chargers to win, but this is a team where the Cowboys can win. They can take advantage of this team and score points. The Charger defense is not great, not the worst defense, but they're also not San Francisco 49er defense, and you'll have a chance to score some points. So bounce back and pull the critics off, have a bad game, and then they'll be on your ass.
I mean, this will be a good week, like you say. The Chargers defense has not. What's going on, Miz? Man, thanks for stopping in, bro. But this Charger defense has not been exactly. I wouldn't call it exactly very good. I don't know if Derwin James is going to be ready to go for him this week or not. He missed the last game. He missed their last game for sure and got hurt the week before that. So I'm not sure the extent of his injury if he'll be back out on the field. I got to look into that. But this Charger defense hasn't been very good. The pass rush hasn't been what they expected it to be when they acquired Khalil Mack a season ago. And Joey Bosa seems to always kind of have something or another wrong with him. Always kind of in and out of the lineup. So this is a week that you got to go out there and obviously you're not looking to save your season right now. Your season is still plenty more games to go for the Dallas Cowboys. But at the end of the day, I think this is the type of game you got to go out there and win. A playoff team from a year ago are the Chargers. Phenomenal, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Off phenomenal offense. You got to just go out there and find a way to get it done. I mean, all the NFC East teams are on the road this weekend, as you've noticed. But out there in sunny LA, man, you can't go out there and lose this football game coming off of the loss that you just had. You got to go out there. I think the defense, especially this Cowboy defense, needs to really go out there and figure out a way to slow down Justin Herbert in this Los Angeles
Well,
Chargers offense.
like I said, the Chargers don't have the same defense, the same offensive line as the 49ers. So they're gonna be able to get their matchups. It's whether or not they can get Micah Parsons rolling on defense. Because once they get that guy rolling, he's pretty good, you know. But when they don't get him rolling, they get stifled like they did this week against the 49ers. Now, again, Justin Herbert is there. They don't need to play that much, but I think they're going to need to have a better performance than they did against the Raiders to beat this Cowboy team. They're going to need more of the performance they had against the Dolphins and or the Titans and even the Vikings than they did the Raiders because I think this Cowboy team can match up with them. Again, the Cowboys need explosive plays now. Tony Pollard, I don't remember the last time he has had an explosive run. CD Lamb, I don't remember the last time he had really an explosive play. Brandon Cooks, I don't know if it's because McCarthy is not really winning here with his guy. Who knows? But I know what I do know. The Cowboys will somehow end up being in the playoffs somehow just because the rest of the NFC is not great and they're going to beat up on. They still have the Giants. They still have a few other teams on the schedule like the Jets and like they already played the Jets, but similar teams like that down the road that they can beat up on. The problem is you still have the Bills to play, and you still have a couple other teams in there. I think they even have Miami. I don't know if they played Miami yet, where they're going to need to step
Nah,
up.
they
So
haven't played Miami yet.
a team like the Chargers, this is a game that they need to win. The defense is angry. It seems like they're angry. Go out and prove it on Sunday, on Monday night. Go out and prove it Monday night. If they go out, because this is what the Cowboys do. They're going to have a bad game. Then they're going to come out and have a great game. And then everyone's going to talk about them again of being Super Bowl champions after they beat the Chargers, right? And let's be honest, they might come out and stop a mud hole in that team, right? If they do that, guess what happens? Now everyone's going to go back on their Johnson and be like, oh yeah, Cowboys, they're a winning team and all this stuff, like because if you look at the Cowboys have they have the Chargers and the Rams, right? So if you can somehow beat the Chargers, beat the Rams, the game against the Eagles, you can claw yourself back in, and then they have a game against the Giants. So they have in the next 4 games, they need to be at least 3-1 in order to have playoff hopes alive. Because after they play the Chargers, they have the Rams, the Cowboys, and they have the Giants, the Panthers, and Commanders. You can really make up some ground there, but you need to take care of business against teams like the Chargers because at the end of the year with the Lions, that game is not going to. They're not going to lie down in that game, and then the Commanders always gives you fits. So, I think this is the game the Cowboys need to bounce back. This is the game. Make that statement. Say, listen, we shut down Justin Herbert. We shut down this offense because if you look at what beat the Chargers in Game 1 against Miami was that pass rush of Miami. They sacked the quarterback. They got around and they stifled that offense. If you can get Micah Parsons going. Like I said, get DeMarcus Lawrence going and put up a better showing, you're probably going to walk away. with a win here. And I
I
don't even
mean,
want
I
to pick
agree. Michael,
the Chargers.
I mean, I agree. Michael Parsons and the company need to get it going. I mean, one sack against Brock Purdy last week, that's not going to get it done. And I think this defense is really, really been hearing it all week from the media and from just fans, whatever, in general, social media, whatever they're into, whatever they do. They've been hearing it all week, man. I think this defense should come out firing on all cylinders, man. I think they'll be getting after Justin Herbert and make him uncomfortable in that pocket. They'll be able to make it a long day for him, man. So I kind of I do like the Cowboys here this week, and I'm not going to say they're going to go out there and just absolutely trash the Chargers, but I think they do win. I think they win by at least 10 points. Honestly, I think they go out there and
Wow.
win this football game
I
by
mean, I don't know what
at
the
least
spread
10
is right
points.
now, but I'm sure the Cowboys are favorites in the game. But I mean, this is the game, like we said, the Cowboys defense looked bad. That's the thing. That I'm not really. I mean, Dak Prescott is what he is. I mean, while we don't like Dak Prescott, we got to give credit to the 49ers defense for turning him over, right? You know, they also turned our quarterback over a couple times as well. So my point is that at least they scored a touchdown. We didn't score a touchdown in that game. We kicked 4 field goals, but the point is that this is the game the Cowboys tend to have. They have one bad one. The defense is now upset, and they're going to try to rectify the problem. I know that they have lost a couple guys, but you know the replacements have come in and done an admirable job. So again, you need to win this game because the game after this is a game against the Eagles. Do not take the Chargers lightly. Go in there, handle your business, and then you're 4-2 headed against a team that's 6-0, and you can see if you can get yourself back in this division race. Because right now you're 1-0 in the division. It doesn't really matter what happens with the San Francisco 49ers because you're not really worried about meeting them till late January anyway. The team you're really willing to meet is the Eagles. So you got to handle your business. Beat the Chargers. Go out there and then beat the Chargers. Don't overlook them because you're waiting for that Eagle game. That's why I'm saying the Cowboys-Eagles play real quick close to each other, right? If I'm not mistaken, the Cowboys play – oh, the Cowboys have a bye week actually, so they should. This is why they need to win. You win this game. You go into your bye week. You get healed up. You can come out. You can beat up on the Eagles that next week, right? Or no, the Rams that next week. Then you have the Giants. Let me get this up here again. Sorry, my computer acted up, folks. Let me get this schedule up here for you so you guys know what we're talking about here. So, like I said, they have a win. They play the Chargers, then they have a bye week, then they play the Rams, and then they play the Eagles and then the Giants, right? So, if I'm them, don't think about going into your bye week. Win this game. Go into your bye week with a 4-2 record. Have a week off to prepare, heal up, get some of your guys fully back. Then you have the Rams at your building at 1:00, and then a game against the Eagles. If you can get to that game against the Eagles at 5-2. Worst case, 4-3. You have a chance. You have a chance, but you need to win this game. And I think you're right, Mac. I think the Cowboys defense Dan Quinn's gonna have those boys rallied and ready to go.
Yeah, man, he has to, man. And it's like you said, I think just right now, based off what you're watching the Eagles do, because like you said, it's not even really about San Fran, because right now you got to worry more about your division, period. You know that starts first there. You know that's your first step is within the division, and just even the Eagles right now sitting at 5-0. Right now you're 2 games behind a very good football team. They're not gonna make it easy for you to catch up, and making up that 2-game gap against a team that's good is not going to be an easy task, man. So you're already in a hole right now as it is. Put yourself in a hole right now, losing these 2 games the way you have. To the Cardinals, especially the fact that you lost one of your losses. Okay, no shame losing to the 49ers. No shame at all losing to the 49ers. How great that football team is. But the fact that one of the other L's to the Arizona Cardinals, it's not a good look, man. It's not a good
That
look
could be the
based
loss.
off of how important. Yeah, what you gonna say?
That could be the loss that puts them out of like the top seed or something like that. That loss.
Absolutely.
We could be
That
circling
was
that.
an inexcusable loss.
Right. And you might circle that loss on the calendar if they're tied and they're stuck with the same record as, let's say, the Eagles or something like that. and they end up being the fifth seed when the Eagles are the second seed or something like that because you lost to the Cardinals and they didn't. And it comes down to common opponent sometimes, man. We don't know when these. I don't. You can't really end in an even record with 17 games, right? But let's say hypothetically speaking, the Cowboys are 12-5 and the Eagles are 12-5 or whatever it is, and they both have the same division record. They both have the same conference record, but then it comes down to common opponent, and they're going to say, "Well, you lost to the Cardinals, and the Eagles beat the Cardinals." That's the difference between the second seed and now possibly the fifth seed. And we all know the Cowboys need the home field advantage in order to get over the hump.
But yeah, so yeah, these games are critical, getting critical now for these teams like the Dallas Cowboys coming down. I mean, especially like I said, what San Fran and the Eagles are doing. I mean, that's looking like the clear cut 1 and 2 in the conference. And then, like I said, Detroit's nothing to sneeze at. The Detroit Lions are nothing to sneeze at, folks. They can go out there and play with the best of them. It looks like as well, man. That team is. You said that, Dallas plays Detroit too. You said right? If I'm not.
Yes, later on
Yeah,
in the
Dallas
year.
does play Detroit.
Yes, later on in
So
the year.
that's going to be another huge game. You can circle on the schedule for the Dallas
Right,
Cowboys, man.
right. That could be for wild card seeding right there. You know what I mean? Because it's later in the season. I mean, we think Detroit's going to probably win the division, right? So we could be talking
Shit.
about, let's say, Green Bay, or in this case, Atlanta or Tampa Bay. One of those two teams are, or even Washington. Maybe they go on a little run. You never know where these games are going to come back to bite you, and we could literally be saying, let's say, I mean, it's no shame to lose to Detroit now, right? Because they're winning. Let's say lose to Detroit, and they end up with the same record as, like, I don't know, the Atlanta Falcons or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or something like that, or New Orleans. And it comes down to, like, that one loss put you out of the game because you lost the Cardinals. You know what I'm saying? Like, that one loss we could be talking about for a while. And like you said, the Cowboys have a lapse in judgment. That's what they do. This is the Cowboys. Now, what did the Cowboys also do? They also bounce back pretty well. That's also
They
what the
do.
Cowboys do.
They do. They did. They lost to the Cardinals. They came out and trashed the New England Patriots. I'm not saying they're going to do the trash the Chargers quite the same way, but I do think they come out and have a good response against the Chargers, and they definitely win this game. I think they definitely win this football game. They just need. They just can't afford to drop another one right now. They got to figure. They just got to figure it out, and they got to get it done because they have to stay competitive in the NFC with the Eagles and the 49ers and the Detroit Lions of the world. They got to. They got to get it done, and the sneaky good teams in the NFC. Like I said, the teams like the Rams, like you were saying, the Atlanta Falcons, some of these teams that are a little bit better than maybe expected. It's it's a little more interesting, man. It's the parity of the league year to year, man. Some of these teams, come out. Like I said, I thought the Rams were going to be one of the worst teams in football this year. I was way wrong about that. This team is looking like they're trying to make something happen this season, man. So just
Well,
never
it's
know.
not the teams, right? Giants we thought would do well, Rams thought would do poorly. The Rams are doing pretty well, and the Giants are doing poorly. So
Yeah, and the Giants. Whew, the Giants. I just don't know, man. Like I said, it pains me. I'm mad because I got to now once again sit up
they
on Sunday night and watch what's most likely to be another embarrassment. I mean, we are the biggest underdogs of the week. The New York Giants, the
what are we
biggest
down by? What
underdogs
are
of
we
the
the
week.
underdog this week? What's our number? Last
We
week's like
are
14.
minus 14
Oh my God, 2 touchdowns again.
on the road against the Buffalo Bills. A two
Oh
touchdown
my God.
underdog to the Buffalo Bills.
Weren't
No
we a
other
favorite
team
against
is
Seattle at
is
one
that.
point?
I think we were like a 2 point favorite against Seattle. I think,
And we lost by double
and we saw
digits.
how that worked out as
Now
well.
Vegas is
Yeah,
bailing on us.
wouldn't you, bro? But look, I don't know, man. I don't even know if that game's going to be that competitive. Honestly, I just see an angry Buffalo Bills team coming in there, and I see Josh Allen just firing the ball over the yard. Oh boy, it's going to be another long night, and turn into an early morning. That's what's making me mad. It'd be one thing if I had had these late nights New York Giants, and you were knowing how early I gotta go to work in the morning, and y'all are winning football games or at least looking competitive and giving me something to be proud about. But you're not. These damn primetime games have been terrible. They've been absolutely terrible. Like every single one of them. All of them thus far.
Wait,
And we
wait,
still
wait.
got one more left after this one.
But you get to
Still got
watch
one
them.
more left.
You get to watch them in their rush uniforms. That's it. Their color rush.
Oh,
They're coming out in the color rush this week. The old New York Giants helmets are going on. So at least you'll have that. Will they rise to the occasion, or will they be like Dave Brown and the Giants, the way I know the Giants? Will they be the Mac-led Giants? It's going to be interesting. And I know, we've talked about the Rams, and this is kind of finishing up the last minutes of the show. But this team they've got a lot of dysfunction going on. And the reasons why I don't know if they can win is because they just look like they don't care sometimes. And I know that we play Zach Wilson and some of these booty quarterbacks, but when you watch Washington, they're still fighting to the end of the game. You watch the Jets, they're still fighting to the end of the game. Our team is like, well, turnovers, but penalties, but like they're just someone said it best. You never think you've seen every loss till you've seen every loss. And until this season, I thought I'd seen everything. Nope, I still haven't seen it. It's just so much. This team's such a travesty, and it's tough. I'm in these spaces listening to the fan base and taking the pulse of the team, and it's if we do happen to hit rock bottom and get a top 10 pick, you need to move on, and you need to just rebuild it and say this is where we landed. We grossly miscalculated. And let's redo it. And I know that ownership loves Daniel. If I'm the Giants, regardless of how you feel about the guy, as an insurance policy, I told somebody this morning, it would be bad business in a affluent draft of quarterbacks coming out this year. It would be bad business to not choose one in some of the premium rounds. Okay? I know that, people may not want Daniel gone here and, maybe to compromise with John Mara because they were saying, I don't want a first round guy, whatever. And they compromise and you get a second round guy. Do not walk away from this class and not draft one and be sitting there in 2 years when let's say you get rid of Daniel Jones or you're moving on from Daniel and you have no backup plan and you have nothing in the reserve to kind of just check out to see because if we have a bad record, we're not going to be good in 2024 anyways. So what does it matter at that point? But what I don't want to do is I don't want to not choose a quarterback and then in 2024 end up like let's say 7-10 and not inside the top 10 to get a guy and there's only 2 real studs in the draft because all the good ones came out. No, prepare now. Bring in a guy now if you guys are losing. And I don't think the Giants win more than I don't know. I'm going to say there's 3 games left in October with the Bills, the Commanders, and the Jets. I say the Giants go 1-2. I think they pick up a win somewhere here between the Jets and Commanders. I think that they'll have one of those teams will give them enough turnovers that they'll luck themselves into a victory.
Well, you're a little more optimistic than I am on that one, Jeff. I mean, I'm sorry, Adam. I don't know because I just don't see it with this football team. I just don't. I don't. I see no desire to do anything correct. I see it's just a shit show.
Well,
Every
quickly,
time I look at it, it hurts my heart to watch this football team because in my 30 plus years of being a fan, I personally have never seen it look as bad as it looks right now. It's just despicable.
one last thing. Do you think
Yeah.
they make any trades before the trade deadline to exit some of these players? Or you think they're going to stand firm and try to fix
I'd,
this?
I'd start shopping Xavier McKinney around right now. I'd be shopping him around right now and seeing if anybody wants to take him off our hands because at this point he's running his mouth. His play on the field is not matching what his potential or what he was expected to be. I just start shopping him around and seeing what you can maybe get from this guy for this guy. Problem is, what he's in a contract year though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I guess people aren't going to necessarily jump out the window to get him when they know they can probably pick him up in free agency anyway after the season. But I just try to figure something out. I mean, you got to start trying to figure out a way to make this team better. and build some more draft capital. And I agree with what you said about the quarterback situation. It would be impossible to not draft one of these quarterbacks in this upcoming draft. It's just gonna be full of such good quarterbacks. And you gotta take one of them. You're gonna have to grab one of those top guys as well at the top end of the draft. You got to use a premium pick on one of these guys, like you said, and like you said, have that plan for the future because like we said, it's not to be keep beating a dead horse. Daniel Jones is not going to be is not the long term solution here in New
And
York.
he's injured now.
Maybe that
He's got a
kid
bad neck.
maybe he can go and get his career jump started somewhere else. Maybe get away from all of this, but he's not recovering here in New York. His career is not going to recover here. He's going to have to if he wants to be successful, have any chance of being successful. It's going to have to be somewhere else, man. Maybe his career takes that path of like Geno Smith, where it just might be 8 years or so into his career, 8 9 years in, and the light bulb finally comes on a little bit, and he looks a little more competent. But it's not going to happen here in New York, folks. So he just got to he just got to hang it up on that. I mean, well, he's definitely on the hook for him for next year for sure. So he'll still be very much a part of this team next year. But after that, you gotta be ready to move completely on, man. Clean getaway, and like you said, whoever we draft, and like you said, whoever we do draft, you're gonna have to bring in and make that very much an open competition, very much an open competition. It cannot just come in and say this is Daniel's job for another year just because he's here.
Right.
That can't be the case. So you know, we'll see, man. We will see how things play out. Like I said, it's depressing when you're talking about draft stuff and off-season business, and it's only week 6. That's kind of not the way we saw the
Well,
season
1 in
going.
5, you
Well,
have a
not
4% chance of making
I
the
didn't
playoffs.
see the season. Yeah.
4% chance. I don't know if you know what
Yeah.
that means. That's a 94% chance of you not making the playoffs. Okay, making the playoffs is 4%. 96% is the ratio you not make the playoffs at 1 in 5. So if they lose here, it just gets tough, man. And we're gonna have to slog through another ugly, disgusting campaign. But if they do it correctly and they take their guy and bring in competition and say, listen, we're doing a rebuild. Doesn't matter what happens next year in 2024. We just want to get our guys here, build the team up, become competitive, and then worry about it down the road. Then at least we know. Don't give us fool's gold. This team was overshot. But anyways, no more. I'm enough about the Giants. I hate that we have to wait till 8:30 to see when this is over because it's going to stink. You wait all day, get all excited to hear Carrie Underwood sing, and then she says, waiting all day for Sunday night. And you're like, damn, we're about to lose 3 hours later.
Yeah. Well, everybody, man, appreciate y'all coming through. Everybody in the chat. Another thanks coming through for another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Round-Up. Myself, Adam Costas. Man, y'all hit that subscribe button.
We're here for you, Giant fans.
Subscribe for our Core Sports Network as well. Thanks once again, man. Hit that like, thumbs up on the stream if you enjoyed the stream thus far, man. Appreciate you guys. No mess, no nets, no jets. Holding down the chat as usual, man. Afghanistan, baby, oh yeah. Thank you for coming through, man. Good comments in the chat, man. Really appreciate you. Good intel, man. Tudo, man. Thanks for coming through. Miz. Bookend tackles, big task in hand. Philly B, man. My guy Wales. Appreciate y'all, man. Most definitely, man. And me and Adam will definitely be back, man, next Wednesday. Same time, same bat channel, man. And also, one more thing before we get out of here. It's October, y'all. Just do whatever y'all can, man. Support breast cancer awareness, man. Deadly disease. Taking the great people, man. So just, whatever. Anything you can do, cancer awareness all through the month of October, man. That's why I got the pink hat on. That's why I've been wearing the pink hat through all these streams the last couple of weeks. Just make sure y'all go out. But it's your boy Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy, super dope co-host Adam Costas, man. And we'll see y'all next Wednesday, man.
Yeah.
Peace. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants Fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants Fan. That's MacDa Giants Fan.